Hi, my name is Mike. Thanks for joining me today on my channel, Technically Church, where I share over 20 years of experience in audio, video, lighting, and multimedia. You can always find out more on my website at technicallychurch.com. Let's jump in. Today we're going to talk about user patching on the Behringer Wing. So I am on a Behringer Wing full-size console here, and I am running firmware version 3.0.5. As far as I know, user patching hasn't really changed over the firmware versions, but that is where I'm at. So user patching, what is it? Why might you want to use it? So if you're not familiar, I will show you. We're going to go to the routing menu here, and we're going to go to sources, and we're going to go change our source group to the user signal group here, user signals. So you have 48 user patches here that maybe you've never touched and don't know what they do. User patching can do a couple of different things. The two we're going to talk about today are it can take the processing of a channel and allow you to patch it somewhere else. So if you patch a channel in, let's say a microphone from your stage box. If you patch that microphone in somewhere, you're patching the raw signal. You're patching it before EQ, before any processing, any gates or dynamics or compressors or inserts, any of that stuff. It's just the raw signal. You can patch that, into a channel. Maybe you patch that into Dante for multitrack recording, and you're going to record that raw signal, which is honestly what you might want in that case. User patching allows you to take that same signal after all of the processing, let's say the EQ and then a compressor and an insert, and then you can patch that somewhere else. So here's the two use cases I'm going to go over today. I'm going to illustrate them. So everything's blank. I've got a user signal number one. So here's my use case. I have two types of monitors that I use with my band. I have wireless in-ears that I run off of a bus on the wing, and I use the Behringer P16 personal monitors, okay? So my wireless in-ears run through a bus. So it's the channel gets processed, I have my tap point, and then I set where my tap point is. That's what gets sent to the bus. That bus gets sent to the in-ears. So for instance, if I want the EQ that I set on the board to go to my vocalist in-ears, I set my tap point after the EQ. That goes through to the bus goes through to the ears. In their ears, they're getting their microphone with the EQ that I've set, okay? The P16s are a different game. So on the wing, you just raw patch the P16s. So if we go to routing, outputs, AES50A, how this works is your P16s get routed the last 16 channels of AES50A, and you're just raw patching it. So you're going to say snake channel 1 patches into output 33 of AES50A. It's going to pass it through to the P16 channel 1. If you want more details about how to patch the P16s, I have a whole video on how to do that. But again, you're taking that raw signal. So I'm taking that vocal microphone, patching it directly to the P16, and they're getting that raw signal. Now, that might be preferable. The P16s do have their own EQ, but some musicians don't want to mess with that. Sometimes they want the compressor, they want the gate, all these different things. So user signals is where this comes in. So you can patch that raw mic signal to a channel, front of house, you mix it, you EQ it and everything. You then patch that channel to a user signal, you set the tap point, and then you patch that user signal in the AES50 routing here to the P16. That then takes all the processing of that signal and sends it through to the P16. So it's very different from the raw patch, which is no processing. The user signal gives you the processing. So here's how you do that. We're going to go to routing, we're going to go to sources, and we're going to go to user signals. And I'm just going to take user number 1, and I'm going to say, okay, I want to assign. And so this isn't patching right from your snake, right? You get the options of patching a channel, an aux channel, a bus, a main, or a matrix. Okay, so I'm going to patch a channel, and I want my vocal mic. You get the options of saying, do you want to send the left and right, or just the left or just the right? So it's not stereo, but I still want left and right in this case. And then you have tap or post. So this is saying, do I want this user signal to contain just what's at the tap point. So again, I might have some processing after the tap point that it won't be included. Or post. Post would be everything in the processing chain it's including. So in this case, I want the tap point because I've purposely set that tap point where I want it for the musicians. Hit close. And then you can, set an icon and a color, give it a tag if you want. Okay, so you're good to go there. So user signal 1 now contains vocal mic 1, but processed at the tap point. So now I go back to my main routing menu. I go to outputs. In this case, I'm trying to patch a P16. So I'm going to go to AES50A. And right here is the same microphone, which currently, again, is the raw signal. And I'm just going to replace this. So I'm going to click on channel 2 of my P16, which is actually channel 34 of AES50A. Hopefully I'm not losing you here. I'm going to patch that from that raw signal of local input 2. I'm going to change it to user signal 1. Unlock it, user signal 1. So now that P16 is getting user signal 1, which is the processed version of that microphone coming in from local channel 2. So that's one of the use cases to use that. All right, the other use case is a very similar setup, but different reason, just to give you guys some ideas here. I do multi-track recording, okay? So I have a Dante card in the Behringer Wing. I can take up to 64 channels, and I can individually send them out over Dante, and I happen to use Adobe Audition to do this. So I have a computer hooked up on Dante. My Behringer Wing is hooked up on Dante. I can send 64 individual channels from my Wing over Dante to Adobe Audition. I can multi-track record it for processing later, post mixing, or playback, virtual sound check. Okay, all these reasons. By default, right, so how we do that is we go to outputs, we go to Dante out, and I'm just going to patch in all my channels, right? I'm going to say channel 1 is microphone 1 from my snake. But again, that's the raw signal. Now in most cases, this is what I want. I want to record the raw signal. I don't want to record all of my processing because I might want to do different processing. But in the case that you do want to record your processing, you wouldn't be able to do that without the user signal. So same process, I'm going to set up a source, go to user signals, we're going to go to user 2, and I'm going to say, I want to record the pastor's microphone today, but I want all the processing. I want the EQ, I want the compressor. So I'm going to set the pastor's mic, and in this case, I want post. I want everything. Left and right, hit close. So now user signal 2 is my pastor's microphone, the speaker, post, all the processing. So now I can jump back over to outputs, Dante, and let's just jump down to 41 here, and I'm going to patch 41 to user signal 2. So now on Dante network, channel 41, I'm getting that microphone processed that I can now multi-track record with the EQ, with the compressor and everything. So those are two pretty powerful scenarios where you might want to use user signals on the Behringer Wing to encompass that processing and do some different things with it. Thanks for joining me today. Again, my name is Mike. You can always find out more on my website, technicallychurch.com, or on my YouTube channel, Technically Church. Look forward to seeing you soon.